Hello, welcome back again. This is Pedro. Don't have my friend Dennis here with me, but I got Drew, and he'll keep me company today. So, on our previous videos, we tried to do a quick review on the Barista Brew Watermelon Strawberry Refresher, and we were quite disappointed with it. We didn't got like decent flavor or anything, but I put it on my TFB8 and because it tends to increase the flavors and clouds, and I have to admit now I am a bit surprised. It's better, not perfect. It still tastes more if you just like put it on your finger and taste it, but you still get a really good flavor out of it if you use it on the TFB8. This just shows to just proves that it's all about the build, the wicking, and the RTA or RDA that you use that will either kill or increase the flavor. So again, it's all trial and error, and if you find a flavor that you like on the bottle and it doesn't go quite well with your setup, maybe try and tweak it here and there, and you might be surprised. Don't just diss it out as bad. I still say it could have been better, but at least it's going to be my go-to liquid for at least the TFB8. And as you can see, it does give you a good cloud. See? And there you go. But this was just a little bit of quite a bit, not disclaimer, but just a little quick update. Today we're going to be talking about something completely different. We're going to be talking about salt, nicotine salt. Now, what is nicotine salt? Just to give you a little bit of a feedback and a background, not feedback. When you start vaping, you get the liquids and they come out always with zero nicotines. I believe that here in England you are not allowed to have this kind of liquids with nicotine. Like for example in America, they have the Naked series and they come with nicotine already. So usually what happens is you buy the liquid, zero nicotine, and then you buy the Nic shot, and you literally just open this bottle, open this one, pour it in, shake it, and there you go, you got your nicotine. Now going back to Nic Salts, nicotine salts, they come with their nicotine already. They're really small bottles and they have a really high content of nicotine. Now I don't advise using this as a starter, but this addresses a big issue that people have with vaping, which is, and this most likely you've been in this situation if you started vaping. So you have your mod, you have your nicotine on your liquid, and everyone knows if you put like a 10 millimeter bottle of nicotine, 10 milligrams of nicotine on this, it becomes or 18 milligrams, and this becomes like a 3 milligram, and then it goes up to 6, up to 12, and this is what you get on your mods. And one of the things you might notice is you vape away, you vape away, you vape away, and you still have this craving for nicotine. And most people, what they end up doing is they vape and then they have a cigarette, or they have a cigarette and then they vape. So it kind of defeats the purpose because they feel that there's not enough nicotine delivery from your liquid. To tackle that, you can use nicotine salts. Alright, so nicotine salts you cannot use on the standard mod because this will literally destroy your throat. You'll feel like this really hard harshness on it. The same way that if you put extra nicotine or stronger nicotine in your liquid, once you put it in your mod, you're gonna feel this really like harshness in your throat, like a scratchy, and people don't like that. So it's really hard to find this balance between your nicotine delivery and your like flavoring and not being too harsh on the throat. Hence you using the salts. The salts you can't use on this mod, as I mentioned before, but you can use on this kind of ones. These are this one is an Aspire PockeX. It's a mouth to lungs mod. The big difference between this one, when you inhale it goes straight to your lungs, and this one it's just like dragging a cigarette. You pull it in to your mouth and then to your lungs, like, and there you go. And by doing it, it delivers you a lot of nicotine onto it. So what I usually use it for, I use both of them in conjunction, which is I use this as my normal day-to-day vape. But let's say you're having a bad day at work and you go out for your cigarette break and you realize that this is not cutting it. So instead of falling into the bad habit of actually having a cigarette, which kind of defeats the entire purpose of quitting to go vaping. You use one of these, you give a couple of puffs on this, and you get that nicotine delivery that you get from a cigarette. These ones are usually quite simple. The PockeX, you can get these, like this one literally was 20 pounds, or if you do it in dollars, it's like $18. It has a really smaller tank, so it's really small, and you just use it like as if when you need that nicotine rush. You can get it on all sorts of flavors as well. And that's what I use as a go-to. Some people tend to, when they quit smoking, let's say you're a heavy smoker, you do like 1 pack a day, and you try and get into vaping, and you're definitely going to realize this, that you're not going to have enough nicotine delivery for you to feel the need of not smoking. So unless you work from home, or you actually don't work, and you can just literally vape away all day on this. If you have breaks, like 5-minute break every 2 hours at work or something, you realize that most of the times, if you were a heavy smoker, this will not give you the nicotine that you crave. So keep one of these, the Aspire PockeX, or any other of these types of mods. This one only goes at 40 watts, so it's non-regulated, constant 40 watts. Interesting enough, battery of this thing lasts forever. It's literally, I don't even remember last time I tried it. I think it was like 4 weeks ago. But then again, I rarely use it. It's only when I have that big nicotine craving that I tend to use this. So you can always keep it with you. It's the size of a pen. It's really small. You can just put it in your pocket, and that's it. And kind of better than using the big chunk of a mod, or even a heavier one. And yeah, so what are the big differences? Basically, you end up actually vaping less, because this gives you a lot of nicotine. These liquids go into a variety from 20 milligrams of nicotine to up to 50, so it's depending on your preference. It was actually advised to me by a guy in the shop, because I mentioned him that I was feeling that the standard liquids are not giving me enough of that nicotine rush, and he actually mentions that, well, why don't you get one of these? And I have to admit that ever since I got this, I haven't even been close of having a cigarette. So yeah, try I'm not going to say try, because I'm not going to advise anyone to do that, but if you are a heavy smoker that wants to go into vaping, this might be a better gateway for you to do it. We don't want to go all cold turkey, and you can actually gradually go from a higher level of nicotine salt to a lower level, up to the point where you can actually just switch to this one, and from this one you can actually reduce to a zero nicotine, which is the desirable result. The nicotine that's used in these, it's basically the same as what they call the freeform nicotine. The freeform nicotine is what you use on your liquids, and it's also on the patches, on those sprays and everything else. It's this. The only difference is, not talking a little bit of chemistry, has benzoic acid, I believe, and that allows it to be shaped into the little bottles and to use on your little pocket mods. And that's it from me today. Give it a go. The Aspire PockeX, always recommend it, and I always recommend nicotine salts for when your mod is not delivering you the nicotine you need. And happy vaping!